Well, I feel like I wasted 3 hours of my life I will never have back ever again. After watching that circus side freak acid show of a Democratic debate, it's apparent that there's only one true winner of that acid freak show, and that was, of course, our president, DJT, Donald J. Trump. It was weird. It was quite actually humorous in a way, but in a lot of ways more pathetic than humorous to watch these seven political whores. Two of them are part of the donor class of the Democratic Party, by the way. Claw and scratch at each other like hungry cats trying to get in and, eat their last, uh, last gulp of fancy feast, trying to, scratch at each other just so they can get that coveted political power that they all desire and probably masturbate to on a nightly basis. It was basically consisted of two of those, as I said, two rich billionaires who are for the donor class of the Democratic Party, Mike Bloomberg and Tom Steyer. Tom Steyer is wasted like hundreds of millions of dollars donating to Democrats. I remember he threw in $100 million of his own money to try and get the Dems to take that Congress and the Senate in 24 and keep the Senate in 2014 while they lost the Senate and didn't get the Congress. And he got Bloomberg, who is this authoritarian, rich limousine liberal who wants to control every move of your life, every decision in your life. He wants to make it for you. He looks down upon the average people. He thinks that it's up to him and his rich elitist cocksucker elitist friends to, treat the masses like they're pets, that they can't make their own decisions, that we, the people, cannot make our own decisions for ourselves. Then we got Chloe Butcher, who's still pathetically in it for some reason. Guess the media propped her up to, get Tulsi Gabbard out of the way because they don't like Tulsi Gabbard's foreign policy because it's not bloodthirsty enough for the national insecurity state Washington establishment. So, when Tulsi Gabbard was surging in the polls, the media propped up Klobuchar to sort of get her out of the way, and it worked. Now Klobuchar's still there. Actually, Tulsi's still in the race, but she really has no chance in hell. If she doesn't break 5%, she'll at least drop out by Super Tuesday. I donate money to her campaign. You gotta admit, she really isn't going anywhere. But she's young. She's in her 30s. She has a whole political career ahead of her. But Klobuchar is just basically nagging and trying to sell herself as a woman and a moderate at the same time. And it really isn't working. First off, her last name is going to not look good on yard signs. Seriously, most people would be like, Klobuchar. You can't have a name like that and expect to be on millions of yard signs in America. But she, was, clawing away, nipping at, attacking, Bernie for being too radical, which he is, being too far of a leftist, which he is, but really she has no shot of it. She's just another one of those moderates that's probably going to fade away because she's not nearly communist enough for the Democratic Party's lust for, communism. And then you had, of course, the two rich billionaires. Tom Steyer, who is basically, he has the charisma of a drunken snail who's on life support. He has no charisma. He has no experience. He's like this. He shouldn't even be on stage. He should just stick to donating money to fund people so he can, run his climate change schemes, sell the snake oil of climate change just so he can make money and so he can bribe, which he owns most of the Democratic politicians, and get them to carefully word regulations so he can make millions off the market. That's the game he plays. As I said earlier, carefully word regulations help out help out a lot of rich people, a lot of rich Democratic donors, and Tom Steyer's one of them. However, he shouldn't be running, but he came in and out to attack Bloomberg here or there. And then you got Bloomberg, who everyone was attacking. Like Elizabeth Warren, that's the first person I have ever seen her attack ever. I guess he represents everything she hates. He's rich. He's a man. He's successful. He's done shit that she could possibly, dream of. She couldn't even possibly dream of doing because she's a loser, and if she wasn't in academia or appointed by the Obama administration, she would be nowhere. Let's face it, she's a loser. She would be nowhere. She had to lie about being a Native American to get into Harvard. She's just nothing more than another government parasite. But she was attacking Bloomberg on. I thought one of the moments that stuck out at me is when she said that she attacked him for allegedly telling one of his employees, of course with Me Too, I guess anything a woman says ever about a man is 100% true. No matter if there's any evidence or not, a woman can make up anything and boom, it's her truth, it's 100% true. Well, supposedly one of his employees said she was pregnant to her boss, Mike Bloomberg, and he told her to kill it. Then Warren, who is about as gets all wet and juicy for Planned Parenthood, tries to attack Bloomberg from the pro-life angle, which I find, I'm pro-choice, but I find it amusing as hell that she actually tried to pull the pro-life card on him after she's actually voted for and supported partial birth abortions, which is murder. And I'm pro-choice, but going back to the 90s, ever since I can remember the abortion debate, the difference between pro-life and pro-choice was life begins at birth, not at conception, like the pro-lifers. Well, a partial birth is still a birth. Therefore, if you're killing something that's already born, you're killing it. And Warren supports this, basically legalized murder of babies, but I don't want to get too much into it because really partial birth abortions are very rare. It usually happen when some doctor makes coerces a woman into aborting the kid for whatever reason. Again, it's very rare. No woman wants to go through 9 months of pregnancy to abort the baby at the last second. It never happens. Carrying the baby 9 months up until birth, it defeats the purpose of having an abortion. But she supports this, and she actually had to attack Mike Bloomberg, and she was nipping him all night like a chihuahua. It was hungry for its master's Taco Bell. He's like, rat, 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 attacking him for, saying that he should release the women. I guess he's, like all rich and powerful, billionaires. He has a bunch of sexual harassment lawsuits on him. Some are probably true, to be honest. I probably think some are true. Some are probably just women trying to get money. Either way, he pays the women to shut up, and I guess Bloomberg caved on this. Warren said, well, you should let them out of their, non-disclosure agreements. He's like, oh, no. But eventually he caved, and you know what? To be honest, he did, and he looks weak. But she was nipping at him at the butt all night last night. And then you got butt plug or booty gag or booty gag or whatever the fuck you want to call him. He was actually more attacking Sanders for, being so radical. And he had some good points. He had some good moments when he said that, Bernie is looking up at the bright side of the Castro regime, which he is. He's looking at the bright side of the Castro regime. Completely ignores the fact that Fidel Castro mass murdered people, jails political dissidents, rules with the iron fist, and, does all the stuff that Bernie probably has a wet dream about at night. But, oh no, he provides healthcare and education, so I guess that's a free ticket to mass murder and oppress your own citizenry, just as long as you pay for their healthcare and education, which we'll get back to. But yeah, Booty Gag was just basically trying to position himself as the moderate. He attacked, basically attacking Bernie most of the night. And then you had Quid Pro Joe. He's basically ahead. He banked his whole fucking campaign on South Carolina. Quid Pro Joe's campaign seriously reminds me of Rudy Giuliani in 2007. In 2007, when Rudy Giuliani was was the front runner all through up until like New Year's Day of 2007. He was the front runner, just like Biden was the front runner up until then. Giuliani had a strategy for Super Tuesday, which was ignore the early primary states, focus all his time and money on Florida, which was at that primary was the primary for that 2008 Republican primary was the primary right before Super Tuesday. And basically he did that. He came in like 5th and 6th, just like Quid Pro Joe came in 5th and 6th in Iowa, just like Quid Pro Joe came in 4th, 5th, and 3rd in Iowa, New Hampshire, and Nevada. But same strategy, and he focused all his money on all his campaign on Florida, just so he can build that momentum going into Super Tuesday. Guess what? He spent millions of dollars on a 3rd place finish in Florida. He was $1,000,008. He dropped right out after that 3rd place finish. This is the same thing Quid Pro Joe's doing. His campaign is over. Whether anyone in the left-wing media likes to admit it or not, the impeachment of him and the ties of his, and the obvious corruption and ties that his crackhead son got out of the Burisma deal, which was the center stage of the whole Trump impeachment fiasco, actually drug Joe Biden's name through the mud, and rightfully so, because it's obvious corruption. I mean, the real winner of that Burisma deal was Hunter Biden's crack dealer, because you could buy a lot of fucking crack for the $83,000 a month he was getting from that sweetheart deal. Not to mention that the sweetheart deal his daddy got him in China for the Chinese banks and the other foreign dignitaries that he probably strong-armed into giving his son a sweetheart deal. But the impeachment thing really drug Biden's name through the mud. It's quite obvious. That and he wasn't as bad as Giuliani. Giuliani in 2008 just ignored Iowa and New Hampshire. Biden actually tried to campaign hard in Iowa. In fact, I'd even argue that the impeachment, that his campaign and his people and his special interests were controlling the whole impeachment thing, not just cover up his obvious corruption, but to keep his competitors, Klobuchar and Warren and Bernie, tied up into the impeachment hearings almost till Iowa, so he can be out in Iowa campaign while they're stuck in Washington, fucking with the impeachment nonsense. And it didn't work. It didn't work. He came in like 4th in Iowa, which is absolutely hilarious. So he's decided he didn't even stay for his after party at the New Hampshire. He came in far distant 5th. He decided to throw all his resources into South Carolina, the primary before Super Tuesday, which is same thing Rudy Giuliani did. And I think he's going to fall flat. I think he'll come in 2nd place. But I do think a top 2 finish for him and he's got enough big corporate money that he'll stay in at least until after Super Tuesday. But if he's way behind on delegates, vote for Quid Pro Joe to drop out, which is fine with me. I think he's the biggest piece of shit in there, and that's actually saying a lot because you got some pretty big pieces of shit in that debate. It actually stink so much because they're for that. And that brings me to Bernie. Bernie was attacked because he's obviously the front runner. I think he will take it. I think you will see him take a big delegate lead after Super Tuesday. But one thing, as I said earlier, Buttigieg attacked him on his health care plan. Klobuchar attacked him on how he was going to spend it. Now, you do the math for Bernie's health care plan. They say this $30 trillion a year over 10 years, which is a conservative estimate, to be honest. But let's just say it's what it is, 30 over 10, that's $3 trillion a year. That equates to $10,000 for every man, woman, and child in America. No one, your average person, I don't think, pays $10,000 a year in health insurance. I mean, keep in mind, if you're going to have 360 million people, you got a lot of young, healthy people that should make, if say you were going to buy health insurance for all 360 million of us, you got a lot of young, healthy people that should drag that poll down, drag the cost of insuring that poll down. And he should basically be, what I'm saying is, if he's going to have a bulk healthcare plan scheme for all 360 million of us, he should be able to do better than something that costs $10,000 a year per person. He should probably get it for maybe 1/10 the price. I ain't kidding. If you went to any insurance company, I bet you they would insure everyone in America for $1,000 a person, at least, if not maybe 15. But it would be a $300 billion a year deal to this health insurance company that would do that. And Bernie's not doing that. He wants to provide. It's not about providing people with health care. It's not providing the needy. He wants to eliminate private insurance, which means he wants to control the health care. It's not about providing people with health care. He wants to control the health care. He wants to, by throwing people off of their insurance and outlawing private insurance and forcing everyone onto the government system. He is monopolizing the healthcare system. And that's dangerous. That is really fucking dangerous. Anything that is monopolized and controlled by one single entity, especially a government, it creates almost like this mass slavery. And that's what making us all almost slaves to the government, just because he wants us to all be on the same system. Now, here's another thing. Assume Bernie's intentions are 100% pure. He really just wants to help out all Americans and stick to the big, greedy, evil health insurance companies. Never mind the fact that if he puts them out of business, millions of people in the health insurance industry will be out of work. Never mind that fact. But if he does this, and he honestly tries to put 360 million people on one big convoluted system, it's inevitably going to fuck up. Which means we would inevitably be fucked. That's probably Bernie's idea of equality, is to throw us all in a sinking ship. People aren't equal enough. You got billionaires and millionaires, throw everyone in the same system and sink the system. I mean, look at how Obamacare came out. I mean, do you really think these idiots, these fucking moronic bureaucrats, you really think fucking Bernie Sanders is going to be able to run healthcare for 360 million people? Fuck no, that loser didn't even have a real job till he was 40. The only real jobs he's had in his entire life was being a professional politician. He knows nothing about running healthcare, and healthcare being a human right actually is more of an argument for it not to be monopolized than for it to be monopolized. Because again, if you monopolize it, even with the best intentions, you fuck it up. You throw us all in the same sinking ship. You fuck it up for all 360 million of us. That's not a good idea. That's a recipe for disaster. But, it's not about helping out the poor. It's about controlling the people. Because, if everyone's on the same healthcare plan, suddenly everything everyone eats, their smoking habits, things, because we all know smoking causes cancer. We all know maybe excessive alcoholism causes liver damage. We all know the bad diet causes obesity and heart disease. The moment government healthcare is controlled or socialized, if you will, that all those habits that people have will become the government's business, which means they say, oh, well, obesity's too high, so we have to, and, it's costing our system billing, so we don't want to screw everything over, so we're going to have to make laws about what people can eat. We're going to have to make laws about how much people can smoke or if they can smoke. It's basically all a way to control you. People don't get that. Bernie wants to control you through healthcare. If he didn't, he would just let all the 150 million people around their insurance plan keep their insurance plan and find some federal way to, provide health insurance or health care or whatever you want to call it. Health insurance, just say, for all the, 130 million, for all the 100 million people that don't have it. So, again, it's about control. He doesn't give a care about helping people as much as he does about taking over the healthcare system, which, by the way, is one of the 10 pillars of communism. So, in short, Bernie Sanders is trying to control our healthcare because he actually thinks it's for the best interest of what the left calls the common good. Now, anything with the right rhetoric can be justified as a common good, but he is taking it to a whole new level. But let's look at it objectively here for a second. you don't start something like a single payer system out from, by throwing 360 million. You should try, if you want to make government, and this is being apolitical, of not going into the paradigm of whether or not government should control healthcare. But looking at a more objective way is, if government does control healthcare, shouldn't this single payer system be tried out, well, I don't know, at local level first? Or a state level at the very least. I mean, you got a city like San Francisco is full of nothing progressives. Or even Bernie's old hometown, or the city used to be mayor of Burlington, Vermont, full of progressive. I'm sure if they asked if the local community in San Francisco or Burlington, Vermont, with all these progressives, if a progressive politician there, because you have to be a progressive to be a politician there, because Republicans don't even run there, and it's basically the Democratic primary winner is the winner of whatever they're running for. If a progressive politician ran for, say, mayor there, of either San Francisco, Burlington, or it could even be New York or LA, and said, well, let's do a single payer system here, just for us in the city. It would be connected with all the city hospitals. There'd be some, out of town, deal go with that. So say they decide to provide providing a single payer system for all the people. All those progressives would vote for it, all of them. So there's no reason for them not to at least try it on the local level. Why does everything have to be top down and micromanaged by Washington? You would think, objectively, in order to make something like that work, you would have to at least try it out on the local, if not at least the state level, if not the local level. But why don't the progressives put their money where their mouth is and try it on a local level first? Because all these progressives in San Francisco or Burlington would gladly vote for a single payer health care system for their city. And they would, at the very least, try it out on a local level to see how it works. And if Burlington does theirs, a progressive mayor in San Fran would do theirs, a progressive mayor in Austin would have one, and you wouldn't get the same exact one. You get different variations, and you'd see through trial and error which single payer system, the tweaks and the flaws of what works and what doesn't work. And then if it works great on the city, maybe some states would do it. But no, Bernie wants to do it from the federal government, to throw all 360 million people of us on it. And if it fucks up, guess what? We're all fucked. We're all fucked. It would be thrown in the sea. Fuck it up for all of us. We'd all be in the same sinking ship. Is that his idea of equality, is fucking everything up for everyone equally? I think it probably is. That is really fucked if that's the case. I mean, why else would he outlaw private insurance if he actually cared about actually helping people? It's not about helping people, it's about controlling people, because he wants you to have no other option. He wants everyone in the same sink. Of course, he's in the government class, he'd be looked after first, but he wants to throw all us peons, the people, into the same sinking ship. Into the same ship. And if it sinks, guess what? Everything's equal. I guess that's his idea of quote-unquote equality for you.